First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mang Liaomin. Homage to Master Sakya Zengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Thubten Tarji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity today. Namo Vairocana Buddha, Buddha Lokana, Amitabha Buddha, Padma Kumara. Homage to the True Buddha Assembly. Simu, all Dharma Masters, Tansen Katso, Tutan City, Dharma Educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples, and everybody, good evening. How do you do? Aisteru, Sarange, Hola amigo, Te quiero mucho, Sugoi, Ichiban, Kimochi ii, Jumi, Yappy, Bling bling, Konbanwa. And for those in other countries, we should say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Many countries. Now we have the webcast, and let me tell you a news. In Calgary, Canada, the Baiyun Lezang Temple, or the White Cloud Lepang, there was a very senior disciple and was always volunteering at that temple, and his name was Lo Lian Hua Su Biao. And he's very old and just passed away. Every night he sleeps at 6 p.m. and he woke up at 2 a.m. and he would start reciting True Buddha Sutra, Hiking Sutra, and to do the practice. Continually, he never skipped a day. After his passing, he had many sariras. And his sariras were very round. So we can prove that True Buddha School is live up to its reputation. We have many disciples like Lian Hua Su Biao. He was a lay practitioner, And in his old age, he slept at 6 p.m. Until about 2 a.m. he would wake up. And he practices every single day, non-stop. And he got many sariras. And they were all round. And their whole family were very devoted to Buddha's school disciples. From Calgary, Canada. The Baiyun Lechang Temple's Lianhua Subiao. He's been reborn into Pure Land. Many people in Buddha school had obtained the sariras. Like Hanifa's father and mother, their sariras as big as his thumb. They were called Vajra Sariras, huge sariras, extremely beautiful.
This is translator, English translator, Hanifa's father and
the English translator, Hanifa's father and mother. And also the Master Lianhua Yiming, he was a Dharma teacher, he was a monk, and after he passed away, his sariras were in a cloth bag. And also in Singapore, from the Changi prison, the prisoners for life sentence, and they took refuge in the prison. And before their death, they were very diligent in their chanting the sutra and the hiking Guan Yin Sutra. There were many prisoners who got the sariras. It was quite a sensation then that the prisoners too could get sariras, could have sariras in their bodies. Like my mother, and all the same, she also got beautiful sariras. And I enshrined her sariras here at the Buddha School Seattle Lechang Temple. Are they still here? That's my mother, and that's a Sarira Pagoda.
Okay.
She had many sariras. We got many. Very white and beautiful and sparkling. Many people search for them, and we placed a few here at the Seattle Temple, and they flew away by themselves. But the sariras are like this. They could disappear, and they can reappear. Extremely mystical and very rare. One time when I slept at night, I turned my body and the next morning I found many sariras next to my bed. I didn't know where they came from. And on Grandmaster's ears, I can feel 2 sariras on my 2 ears. But I cannot say that you can touch it by paying $10. Now, because we have the pandemic, no, I have no income.
No money is no honey.
So $100 for touching it once. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Having the sariras even when still alive, 2 on my ears. That's very amazing. 1 here and 1 here. That's quite amazing. Can you touch your ears and see if you have them? So the lotus 鼠标 or 莲花鼠标 at the Bai Yun Lizang temple, he produced beautiful sariras. So I hope that from our spiritual practice we would have this memoir for being reborn in the Pure Land. So now we will do the questions and answers again. Wholeheartedly homage to the feet of lineage guru. My question is, when I perform the treasure vase energy yoga, when the chi enters Tantian, the Tantian feels energetically warm, naturally. This warmth can go up to the navel, heart, and throat chakras. I have not received any spiritual responses in my Root Guru Yoga, yet this is a natural reaction that occurred. What should I do? Just let it be. This is already very good, and you're still asking?
你气入丹田，丹田会自然产生灵热，就非常好。
When the qi enters Dantian, the Dantian feels warm, and the warmth can even go up to the navel chakra, heart chakra, and throat chakras. And you have not had spiritual union in the Root Guru Yoga, and this is a natural reaction. So what should I do? Nothing. The fact that you can have the energetically, you can have the warmth, that means you have the inner fire, and you can make it rise to the navel, heart, and throat chakras. That's a very good sign. So, but you don't have attainments in your Root Guru Yoga. So you just continue practicing it. and take your time. You have attainment in your inner tantric practice. However, you still have to practice the root guru yoga. Once, if you have attainment in the root guru yoga and you're already in spiritual union, then naturally you would have attainments in the yidam yoga. Once you have attainments in the deity Yidam deity yoga and you have attainments in the inner tantric practices, then in the future your attainments would be quite incredible. You know, the warmth, the inner warmth is not easy to achieve. The inner fire is not easy to achieve. So if you have attainments in the inner practices, it would be easy to have attainments in the outer practices. Once you have spiritual union in the root guru yoga, then you can expect further attainments in your spiritual practice. Congratulations. The next question, Grandmaster, does the body constitution play a role in the qi or breathing practices? For example, will there be a difference in the qi practice of a yogi, a bodybuilder, or a person who never exercises? Is there an age limit to qi practice, which means it would be difficult to practice qi after a certain age? Let me tell you, your question is correct. Because everybody has a different body constitution. Everybody's qi channels and light drops are different. Some people have attainments easily and others with difficulty. Let me give you an analogy. When I was in elementary school, I loved to do the single bar and double bar gymnastics. So we all have competition how many times we could do that. I was not this heavy. I was skinny and small, just like a monkey. But I was very good at the single bar. I could do 21 times. Very simple. Then, like a monkey, I make a circle and fall on the sandbox. And then later on, one by one, they also went. Some of them could make over 10 times. Some only half times, 5 times. Nobody could do it 20 times. Only I did. So I was number 1 in doing it in the gymnastics on the double bar and single bar. I was very good then. And I lift up my body, and then by pushing it, the 2 feet are on the double bar. And open the legs, and then sit down, and then use my legs to grasp the double bars at the knees, and then make a circle, and got up, and another circle, and got up. That was really incredible. So I pulled myself and standing up, and I could circumambulate one time and then jump down or did other postures, and I could even stand on my head. Although I was skinny and short, I had great strength on my limbs, arms and legs. But now I'm 76. How many times can I do it now? It's already quite good if I could do it here. So therefore, age is crucial. For a young and strong person to practice the qi, that would be very powerful. And when you are old, of course you can also practice, but the strength or the benefit is different, and the body constitution of a man is different from a woman. Therefore, when you say that equality between man and woman, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. How could man and woman have the same, totally equal? Man has more strength and woman has less strength. How could man and woman are equal? Since birth, they are different. So the strength of man by nature are greater, and for women are smaller. So it's the blood and the channels and the vigor, they are all different. Like for women who's very strong in running and throwing then the women actually are like men. Don't you think so? Anybody with the very strong sports ability, they have more young energy. So although they have woman's body, they have men's look. So there is a difference between men and women. So your question was right. So does the body constitution play a role in the qi building? Yes. So like a yogi, that's like doing the Vajra fist exercise or Vajra martial arts. So when you do yoga, that's like performing the Vajra martial arts, like turning upside down, or holding with one leg, or doing this. There are many yoga basic postures. So that's the same as doing the Vajra martial arts or Vajra fist exercise. What is the benefit of the Vajra fist exercise or Vajra martial arts? Is to open the chi and the channels to flow smoothly, and the light drops can drop, and the 5 chakras can open. So for a yogi, for those who practice yoga, it would be beneficial for the chi practice. And for a bodybuilder, like Grandmaster often does this recently. Recently, the Venerable Lily gave me a machine, an exercise machine. Like you need to lift both legs and using some weight. I cannot show it to you now. So I use 2 arms to lift myself. So that's for exercise. So I'm for bodybuilding. Of course, if you exercise, then it would strengthen your chi practice. Of course, if this is higher, I could lift myself with my arms. I love to exercise. Of course, they would make a difference in your chi practice. Do you know when you practice qigong or the light martial arts for the lightness? So when you breathe in, and then you can jump further and you can jump higher. Why? Because you're preparing yourself with the qigong, qi martial arts. So when I breathe in and hold my body, then I can bounce. I can do all those. So when you exercise and you do bodybuildings and practice, your chi practice naturally would be easier to succeed. Of course, the age also plays a role. The older you get, for the woman, when you get older, then you start to yellow. So the chi becomes weak and the channels have changed shapes and the light drops about to dry up. No more hormones, no more secretions. Then it would be it would affect your chi channel and light drops practice. So yes, age plays a role too. So I would like to take off my clothes. I have taken off my clothes several times. When I was 70, and people took my photos, I still have lots of biceps. Now I am 76. the chest muscle, the abs. But even at 76, I still have them. Oh, it's so. If I take off my shirts, you can see my muscles. I still have the six packs and all the chest muscles, the pectorals and the and the elderly lady always cried out for me to take off my shirts. But you're already so old, so I didn't want to do it. But if it had been young chicks, maybe. Okay, one more question. So, in our body, there are the upper, middle, and lower qi. If this upper, middle, and lower qi are very weak or have blockages, how should we fix it to make it flow smoothly? So the question is that the qi is weak and blocked. What should we do? The upper moving qi, lower moving qi, fire accompanying qi, peripheral qi, and the life qi, a total of 5 qi. Upper qi, lower qi, fire accompanying qi, peripheral qi, and the life qi. The upper qi is in charge of the upper body, and the lower qi is in charge of the lower body, and the peripheral qi is for all over body, for circulation, and the fire accompanying qi is the qi for the inner fire, and the life qi is at the heart chakra, which is unmovable or unmoving, because once it moves, your soul can leave your body. That's how it is. So, if the qi is weak or blocked, what should you do? You can use the Vajra fist exercise or Vajra martial arts. When the qi is blocked, you have to find ways. If you believe that your qi is not smooth or blocked, then you do a deep breathing, finely, slowly, and very long. You should do that often. Breathe the qi to the dantian and then exhale. The inhalation should be as long as the exhalation. Should be the same length of time. You have to train slowly like that. Inhalation and exhalation. So you practice the inhalation and exhalation to make your qi go smoothly. If the qi is weak, then you should practice the Vajra martial arts, the Vajra fist exercise. Like for the crown chakra, or the brow chakra, the brow chakra. You tap on it. Don't tap until it bleeds, okay? For the throat chakra, just circle your head halfway. there would be sound made, and gradually the channels on the throat chakra would be loosened and open. And for the heart chakra, you use push-ups to open the chest. For the navel chakra, you do sit-ups to practice the navel chakra. For the secret chakra, you make your legs up in the air and like riding bicycles. So half upside down. That's to practice the secret chakra. Like riding the bicycles upside down. This is for the brow chakra. Not too hard, otherwise you'll have concussion. For the throat chakra, you circle your head. For the heart chakra, you do push-ups. For the navel chakra, you do sit-ups. For the secret chakra, you pedal on the bicycle while lying down. The legs are up in the air, and your head and shoulders on the floor. So do the exercise of the 7 chakras. Don't you know? 5 chakras, what I just mentioned, was the exercise for the 5 chakras. So if you practice this, your qi from weak would become strong. So this is how you improve it. One more question. For the 9 cycle Buddha breathing, for the 9 cycle Buddha breathing and Vajra chanting, what should we expect happening in our body to indicate that we have succeeded so that we can move on to the next level? Do we need to practice this for a year and a half? Or can we just start the next level if we are already familiar in our visualization? For 9 cycle Buddha breathing, you should practice it all your life. The purpose of doing 9 cycle Buddha breathing is to make your qi flow smoothly, to make your channels open and have no blockages, and also to train your concentration. Most importantly is to train your concentration. Because your mind, your thought is following the qi, then you would be in concentration. Why do I ask you to do 9 cycle Buddha breathing all your life? It's not that you do it and it's fine, now you don't have to do it anymore. No. You have to have your thoughts following your qi inside your body. The trick here is left and right, 2 nostrils, the left and the right and both, and the right and the left and both, and both and right and left. That's to train your concentration, so that the qi can flow smoothly, to let the channels be open and no blockages. So it's not just visualization to let the qi enters. The visualization is your thoughts. Your visualization follows your qi, the movement of your qi. Then you would be in concentration, and this would help you in your practice. And the same with the Vajra chanting and the treasure vase energy yoga. Eventually you also do that. And the treasure-based energy yoga is to practice the inner fire and the light drops. Both need the treasure-based energy.
所以呢，这个要练到身体什么现象发生。
So you need to practice it until what indication? There's no need. You would know every time you do it whether your chi is flowing smoothly, whether the channels is open and smooth, whether you're in concentration. That's the key. Concentration is the samadhi. So 9-cycle Buddha breathing, Vajra chanting, treasure-based energy yoga should be done all the time. It's not just for a period of time. That's not the case. One more question. Master, after chanting Om Buranjari 7 times, can we visualize Akalanata instead of Vajrapani to protect us? No, that's wrong. That's wrong. If you want to visualize Akalanata to protect you, Om Boruranjali, and Boru means Vajrapani. Boru. These 2 syllables means Vajrapani. Om Boruranjali. Boru means Vajrapani. You can call, Dexter, please protect me. Then that would be Dexter. If I say, Dexter, protect me, but I visualize Master Lien Wang protecting me, that's wrong. Or I call on Master Lien Wang, come here. But I say, Dexter, come here. Actually, I wanted Master Lien Wang. And it turned out it was Dexter that came up. That's wrong. So when you chant Om Boruranjari 7 times, that's calling upon Vajrapani who's standing behind tantric practitioners. It was mentioned in the sutras that behind Sakyamuni Buddha there was Vajrapani. Behind a true practitioner there is Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So you cannot call on Vajrapani's name and yet you want Akalanata to protect you. If you want Akalanata as your protector, then in your Dharma practice you should also chant Vajrapani Bodhisattva, because Vajrapani Bodhisattva is a protector with the greatest Dharma power for the Vajrayana practitioner. You're a disciple of the Vajrayana practice, then you should call upon Vajrapani Bodhisattva to protect you. If you want to practice Akalanata Dharma, you chant his mantra. Namo Samanto Vasala Lan Han. This Han syllable is Akalanata.
Namo Samanto Motoran Vajra Nan Han. Namo Samanto Motoran Vajra Nan Han. 就不动明王。
Namo Samanto Vasala Lan Han. That's Akalanata. He's right here. Then he would protect you. So the mantra and the visualization should match. So when you chant Om Pururanjali, then you should visualize Vajrapani. But when we chant Namo Samanto Modanan Vasalanhan, you should visualize Akalanata, and Akalanata will protect you. So for protectors, you can have Vajrapani or many other protectors. So when you do the protector practice, you need to recite the protector's mantra and visualize that protector. And then you perform the visualization of the oneness or the union. And you form the protector's mudra. Om Pururanjali. There are two mudras for Om Pururanjali. One is this. This is the mudra for Om Pururanjali. It's quite similar to Golden Mother's mudra, except the pinkies are straight up. That's the only difference. The mudra of Golden Mother is like this, and then for Vajrapani Bodhisattvas is like this, with the two pinkies upright and touching each other. And you can touch it to the brow, throat, heart, left and right shoulders, and then to touch the brow again and release the mudra. And Vajrapani Bodhisattva will appear right in front of you, and you need to visualize him right in front of you to protect you during your Dharma practice. That's Om Pururanjali. If you want Akalanata to protect you, then you do the practice of Akalanata. Then Akalanata will protect you. And his mantra is different, his mudra is different. Akalanata's mudra is the sword mudra, like this. So please remember, in the complete exposition of the Buddha Dharma, I taught people about Om Pururanjali and the visualization. What I said then, I said that was not quite right. So you need to chant the mantra and the visualization for the same deity. So if you chant Om Mani Padme Hum, you cannot visualize Padma Kumara. You have to visualize Chandrasik. And then if you visualize the white robe Avalokitesvara, then you should recite the white robe Avalokitesvara Dharani. If you chant Om Amitabha, you should visualize Amitabha Buddha. So you need to visualize the deity and match the mantras. So you cannot mismatch. So in the past, when I talk about the complete exposition of Buddha Dharma, that was wrong. What I said was wrong. Thank you for your questions. Now let me share a joke first. A teacher told Xiaoming, You lie every day. What can you do in the future? And Xiaoming replied, to be a president. We cannot extend our lifespan, but we can expand its width. This is making sense. Although we cannot grow taller, but we can grow fatter. That's funny. This is a joke on Chinese. If you don't understand Chinese, this is not doesn't work. It's not funny. Yeah. Yeah, this is play of word of Chinese. So the electric melting person, yeah, it's okay. 就糖果店的老板让他去看他的店名，糖果店的老板的店名叫唐太宗，糖果的糖，唐太宗，唐太宗当然胜过汉武帝了。这个电焊工一看，他就沉默了。这个糖果店的老板又指了不远的一个卖糕饼店的，店名叫做汉高祖。汉高祖也是很大。这个时候呢，汉高祖。And then there's a candy store. They're all naming their stores the names of the emperors, but they use different Chinese characters. 在这个化粪池的这粪的车子经过，两人一看，原来这个车主上面写着“秦始皇”，秦是去抓呢，屎呢就是大便，秦始皇，这个一个比一个大。So, the emperor is greater. One emperor is greater than the other. Now let me expound on Lamdre. On peak, there are two peaks. There are the outer peak and the inner peak. It's like the peak, like the rooftop, like the top of the peak. The first one, outer peak, by having the mind qi gathered and assimilated into the peak or tip of the two channels of blood and semen. This outer peak is the peak of the worldly path. 2. The inner peak. It is the peak of the central channel by having the mind qi gathered and assimilated into the external form of an ah syllable. It is the peak of the out of worldly path. This is quite meaningless. But they created this peak. And what is the outer peak? What is the inner peak? That's not necessary to create a new term. However, what they're saying is, so your mind, which is your visualization, your thoughts, and the mind chi, together with your chi, focus at the peak of the two channels of blood and semen. The tip of the two channels. And this outer peak is the peak of the worldly path. Of course, Grandmaster understands. One is the peak of the two channels of blood and semen, and the other one is the peak of the central channel. By having the mind chi gathered and assimilated into the external form of an A syllable, it is the peak of the out of worldly path. So we could just say 2 points. What is the peak of the two channels of blood and semen? Nobody knows. Do you know? You don't know. Li Yang, do you know? I'm just asking the man. Do you know? Now you know. That's good. What is the peak or the tip of the two channels of blood and semen? Now you know. Okay. That's fine if you know. It doesn't matter if those on the webcast know or not. And what is the inner peak? It's also a point. It's the peak of the central channel. The mind chi at the external form of an A syllable. It is the peak of the lower peak of the out of worldly path. Do you know? This is the lower peak. That's the inner peak. The lowest tip of the central channel. None of you knows? All three of you? Do you know? It's the base chakra. So that's... It's meaningless to talk about this, right? Where is the A syllable? Actually, it's at the navel chakra. Yeah. Because the half A syllable or the half A character, which is the place where the inner fire is generates, and from here it descends from the body chakra to the navel chakra, and that becomes the whole A syllable, the complete or the whole A. And the C, endurance. In this way, the unborn Dharma of the previously non-existent difficult endurance which is the endurance of fearlessness in the meaning of the empty nature, is the so-called endurance. Oh gosh. In this way, the unborn Dharma of the previously non-existent difficult endurance, which is the endurance of fearlessness in the meaning of the empty nature, is the so-called endurance. So that many words actually is called the unborn endurance. The unborn Dharma endurance. That's a fruition. So all these words is talking about the unborn endurance. What is it? Then that's the utmost of endurance. The unborn endurance. How can you endure it all? Someone asked Grandmaster. How can you endure it all? Because self does not exist, then of course you can endure it all. Because with self or ego, of course you cannot endure it. And what is no self? And no self means unborn or non-arising. So with non-arising, there would be non-ceasing. With the arising or with the birth, there would be ceasing. So here's talking about the unborn. So the unborn Dharma of the previously non-existent difficult endurance, which is the endurance of fearlessness in the meaning of the empty nature, is the so-called endurance. So this is the unborn or non-arising endurance. So it talked about empty nature. So it's unborn. Then what should you endure? Nothing, because it's not born. And because it's unborn, of course you're fearless. I have no fear toward the world. Like today in Seattle, we have a protest and we also have chaos. And people were afraid. But if you comprehend the unborn endurance, you're not afraid of anything. You're fearless. Like even if you get infected from the pandemic, the coronavirus, everybody's the same. You can endure it. Even when you get sick, you can endure it. When you have a protest, you can also endure it. When the earth cracks, you can endure it. When the volcano erupts, you can endure it. When you have earthquake, you have fire, you have flood, you can endure it all. Because you're unborn, right? You have no self. Because with no arising and no self, that's empty nature. And because it's empty nature, you can endure it all. So this unborn endurance is a kind of fruition. Once you reach this realm, you're the same as the cosmic space. Only when the Bodhisattva reach the 8th ground, they would have the unborn endurance. And most people would be fearful. Like when we have this protest in Seattle, everybody would be afraid. Because you have not reached that realm. Because when you have reached the state of no self and no arising, then you can you can face it. So this kind of phenomena is called the unborn endurance, and it is a friction. We had the riot in Seattle. This is a little bit like the unborn endurance. Someone said, once you have a wife, you would lose your freedom. That's you. But for me, I do whatever I want at home. If I want to wash the dishes, I do it. If I want to sweep the floors, then I do it. If I want to wash the clothes and do the laundry, I do it. And she doesn't dare to stop me. This is a little bit like the unborn endurance. At home, whatever heavy labor I can do at home. Like this morning after breakfast, I wash the dishes. And after lunch, I also wash the dishes. And then Simu took a huge pot and said, this has to be washed too. Then I just washed it. With no fear. And then I got a stick, a pole. Oh, because like the shower curtain hanger, I had to climb on a chair, and you have to fix both sides to fix it on the walls. Because her hand is weak, so she asked me to replace the curtain hangers, and you need to turn it until it's very tight on the two walls. And Simu shouted, okay, turn, and I turn again, I turn again. And Simu said, turn again, and I turned again. And finally, it was stuck there on the walls. And I did it. So now Grandmaster wash dishes. That's my job. And cooking is her job. But the dishes that she cooks is extremely delicious. So the dishes she cooks, very delicious. I never get sick of her cookings. Each dish is extremely delicious. So she cooks and I wash. So we complement each other. Nobody is afraid of nobody, of anybody. That's the unborn endurance. So we just do our job, and nobody's afraid of anybody. Right? So this one is talking about marriage. A marriage is like hanging yourself. Don't think that by pulling the rope and then jumping in the air, it will end right away. In reality, you have to suffer the struggle for a while. And then you have to struggle in your breathing, and then before you reach the peace. So Bingxiang, do you dare to get married still?
这儿子抱来一个猫来跟他妈妈讲话。
The son
妈
carry a cat and talk to
为
his
什么
mom.
都听我的话？
I have raised this cat for 3
他妈妈
years.
回答
How come it
我
still
养
doesn't
你
listen to me?
30年
And the
你有
mom
听话
replied,
吗？
Hey, I raised you for 30 years, but do you listen to me?
所以这个无生法忍是很困难的。无生法
So
忍
therefore, the unborn
真的是
endurance is extremely
但
difficult,
是
truly
当最大
difficult.
的菩萨的时候才得到的果。
You only reach this fruition when you reach the highest bodhisattvahood.
青春就像卫生纸，
Youth
看
is
着是
like
挺多的，
tissue
可是
papers.
抽了抽了，
It looks a
有
lot,
用的时候
but
就没有。
you use it and then
人在老也是
and then it's gone. It's very fast for us to get old.
这个好像是讲过了。有一个男子
I've told this joke before. I've told this joke
到山上的
before.
庙
A
立刻
man
找到方丈，
Went to a temple in the mountain
卧佛慈
and
悲
found the
大师
monk
我已经
and be
看过
compassionate. The
对
great
这俗
master,
事再也不惧
I have
请你给我剃
looked through the
大师
mundane
万般的
world
做到神
and please shift my head, and the great master took a long
气愤地讲
uh,
你这个
sweeper and hit on his head
给我滚
and say,
你每个
You
月来一次
jerk, get out of here. You come here every month and always
剪一个头剃个
come
光
here
花几个
every
钱
month to cut your hair. Does it cost you a lot of money to go to the barber shop instead?
这个也太过分了。
That's just too much.
那个出家人也要慈悲啊，一个月才来一次。你给
But
他
the monk should be
理一理就好了
compassionate.
嘛。
Just once a month, right? You should just shave his hair. That's an unborn endurance. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.